Let's imagine the impossible 1 nonillion people on Earth. That's a 1 followed by 30 zeros, a number so large it's almost meaningless. To put it into perspective, that's more people than there are grains of sand on all the beaches on Earth. It's more stars than in the observable universe. The sheer magnitude of this hypothetical population is staggering. The Earth, for all its vastness, is finite. Its resources are limited. The very laws of physics dictate that our planet cannot sustain such a population. Even approaching a fraction of a nonillion would lead to unimaginable consequences. This thought experiment isn't about predicting the future. It's about understanding the limits of our planet and the urgent need for sustainable living. It's a stark reminder that our actions today will determine the fate of humanity tomorrow. Let's talk about the basics: food and water. With 1 nonillion people, these resources, essential for survival, would become impossibly scarce. Imagine trying to feed a family of 4, now multiply that by a nonillion. Current agricultural practices wouldn't even come close to meeting this demand. Land for farming would be non-existent, swallowed by the sheer mass of humanity. Even with futuristic technology, extracting resources from our planet to sustain such a population is simply not feasible. Water scarcity, already a pressing issue, would become catastrophic. Desalination plants, while helpful, wouldn't provide nearly enough. Rivers and lakes would be drained dry. The fight for clean water would become a daily struggle for survival. The reality is, long before we reached a nonillion people, the planet would experience famines and water wars on an unprecedented scale. The fight for resources would become humanity's sole focus, leading to unimaginable suffering. Consider this: with 1 nonillion people, there wouldn't be a single inch of unoccupied space on Earth. Each person would have less than an atom's worth of personal space. Forget houses, apartments, even tents. The entire surface of the Earth, including the oceans, would be covered in a mass of humanity. Living conditions would be unimaginable. Sanitation would be non-existent. Diseases would spread like wildfire. The air would be unbreathable. The sheer density of people would make movement impossible. This scenario defies the laws of physics and biology. It's a thought experiment designed to highlight the absurdity of unchecked population growth. It's a stark reminder that our planet has limits. Let's talk about the environment. Imagine the amount of waste generated by 1 nonillion people. It's difficult to even comprehend. Now, imagine trying to manage that waste. The atmosphere, already strained by pollution, would be pushed beyond its breaking point. The greenhouse effect would accelerate at an alarming rate, leading to a runaway greenhouse effect. Temperatures would soar, making large parts of the planet uninhabitable. The delicate balance of our planet's ecosystems would collapse completely. Mass extinctions would become the norm. The Earth, once teeming with life, would become a desolate wasteland. This isn't science fiction. It's a glimpse into the potential consequences of our actions. It's a call to action to protect our planet and ensure its habitability for future generations. Section 5. The Earth's core. Could we become a black hole? Now, let's address the elephant in the room, or rather, the black hole. Could a population of 1 nonillion people turn Earth into a black hole? The answer is a resounding no. A black hole is formed when a massive star collapses under its own gravity, compressing matter into an infinitely small point. While 1 nonillion people is an unfathomable number, it's nowhere near the mass required to create a black hole. Even if we could magically compress all those people into a space smaller than an atom, which is impossible, it still wouldn't be enough. The Earth's gravity is simply too weak to create the conditions necessary for a black hole to form. While an interesting thought experiment, the idea of Earth becoming a black hole due to overpopulation remains firmly in the realm of science fiction. Section 6. The ticking clock. How long until disaster strikes? Predicting an exact timeline for an overpopulation-induced catastrophe is difficult, if not impossible. Too many variables come into play: technological advancements, environmental changes, societal choices. However, one thing is clear: we are currently on an unsustainable path. The Earth's resources are finite, and our demands on the planet are increasing. If we continue consuming resources at our current rate, we will face dire consequences sooner than we think. Some experts believe we are already exceeding the Earth's carrying capacity. Others argue that with sustainable practices, we can support a much larger population. The reality is, we are in uncharted territory. The choices we make today will determine the future of humanity. We must act now to ensure a sustainable future for generations to come. Section 7. Life in a crowded universe. Adapting to survive. Let's imagine for a moment that we somehow managed to survive in a world with 1 non-alien people. What would life be like? First and foremost, it would require a radical shift in our way of life. Individualism would need to take a back seat to collectivism. We would need to prioritize the needs of the many over the desires of the few. Resource management would become paramount. Imagine a world where every drop of water, every grain of food is carefully accounted for and distributed. Energy would likely be generated through renewable sources, with a focus on efficiency and minimal waste. Transportation as we know it would cease to exist. Personal vehicles would be impractical and unsustainable. We might rely on high-speed rail systems or advanced forms of public transportation. Life in this world would be challenging, to say the least, but it would also foster a sense of community and shared responsibility. Survival would depend on cooperation and innovation on a global scale. Section 8. Vertical cities and underground living, science fiction or reality. Faced with such extreme population density, we would need to get creative with our living spaces. Traditional housing models would be completely inadequate. We might see the rise of vertical cities, towering structures that house thousands, if not millions, of people. These megacities would need to be self-sufficient, with their own internal ecosystems for food production, water recycling, and waste management. Imagine vertical farms, hydroponic gardens, and algae farms providing sustenance for the city's inhabitants. Another possibility is underground living. Subterranean cities, shielded from the harsh conditions on the surface, could provide a haven for a portion of the population. These underground dwellings would need to be carefully designed to provide adequate living conditions, including artificial light, ventilation, and waste disposal systems. While these concepts may seem like science fiction today, they could become a necessity in a world pushed to its limits. Section 9. Beyond Earth, the search for new homes. With Earth bursting at the seams, the search for new homes beyond our planet would take on a new urgency. Space exploration would no longer be a matter of curiosity, but a vital necessity for the survival of our species. Colonies on Mars, the Moon, and even beyond would become essential for alleviating the population pressure on Earth. We would need to develop sustainable ways to live in these harsh environments, extracting resources, generating energy, and creating self-sufficient habitats. The challenges of interstellar travel and colonization are immense, but the potential rewards are even greater. The discovery of new worlds, new resources, and perhaps even new life forms could provide hope for a future beyond Earth. The journey will be long and arduous, but the survival of our species may very well depend on it. Section 10. The importance of sustainable living. The scenario of 1 non-alien people on Earth, while extreme, serves as a stark reminder of the importance of sustainable living. It highlights the finite nature of our planet's resources and the urgent need to change our ways. Sustainable living is not about sacrificing our quality of life. It's about making conscious choices that ensure the well-being of both present and future generations. It's about reducing our environmental footprint, conserving resources, and finding innovative solutions to global challenges. From reducing our reliance on fossil fuels to adopting plant-based diets, every small step we take towards sustainability makes a difference. It's about understanding that we are all interconnected and that our actions have far-reaching consequences. The future of humanity depends on our ability to live in harmony with our planet. Section 11. Our collective future, a call to action. The hypothetical scenario of 1 non-alien people on Earth may seem like a distant and impossible future, but it serves as a powerful reminder of the stakes involved. The choices we make today will determine the fate of our planet and the future of our species. We have a collective responsibility to address the challenges of overpopulation, resource depletion, and environmental degradation. It's time to move beyond short-term thinking and embrace a long-term vision for a sustainable future. This is not a challenge for governments or organizations alone. It's a call to action for every individual on this planet. We can all make a difference through our daily choices, our consumption habits, and our unwavering commitment to a sustainable future. The time to act is now. Let us choose wisely, for the sake of our planet and for the generations to come.